If you want a life where somehow the AI takes care of you, you are basically a cow. So the thing is, do you want to just be the cow, or do you want to have some kind of control over your life? As technology advances faster than ever, how should ordinary families and students think about risk? The important thing is the old path is just not safe. The way that I feel comfortable about my direction in the world is I try to make sure that I know what's happening. So I'm just encouraging more people to start thinking of even extremely small scale entrepreneurship. You don't need to start by saying you want to be Elon Musk. Once you start making money this way, you feel safe.
So from what you share, I think the new definition of stability is solving the problem and creating the values.
Actually, my favorite equation in math is 2 plus 2 equals 5. If you can make 2 plus 2 equals 5, you just generated some new value, and you become in a group of people who all think this way. Some of you for sure are actually going to get quite rich. It's a entirely different strategy of going through life.
But one day, maybe AI can also think the same way as you and do exactly what you have just mentioned. So what is the advantage of us as humans?
You're asking, what are the things that only humans can do?
Yes.
Hello everyone and welcome to EO Việt Nam channel. My name is Phoenix and today I'm here with my co-host Kashi and we are at G-Star Summit 2026. And today we will conduct a really special interview with Professor Po-shen Loh. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, hi, welcome Professor Po to the show. And how your trip to Vietnam been so far?
It's terrific. I like working with people who care about people, and the group organizing this whole trip and conference are fantastic people.
And for our audience that haven't heard about you yet, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, well, I don't even know what I do at this point. I try to figure out how to help humanity survive a couple thousand more years. That's what I'm working on. I happen to be a professor at Carnegie Mellon University. For 10 years, I was the national coach of the International Math Olympiad team. Nowadays, I go to over 100 cities a year, trying to understand how people actually think, while also sharing ideas with them on how to thrive after AI.
It is the first time that you come to Vietnam.
Second time.
And how do you think about Vietnam?
Oh, I think it's nice. It's got a lot of people. You guys are a lot of young people, actually. Yes? A lot of young people compared to many of the other East Asian countries that I'm used to. But a lot of potential, a lot of energy. Yeah.
Thank you.
And for those who don't know, like EO have conducted a lot of interview with Professor Po before, and we post this on all our channels, like EO Global channel, EO Korea channel, and of course EO Vietnam channel. I don't remember the exact number, but we reached like millions of views. So I believe that like your insights and your speech have a lot of impact on people. For today's interview is gonna be pretty special because before today, we posted on our social media to gather the question from the audiences. I'm super thankful that we received like hundreds of questions.
Oh.
Yeah. But due to the limited timeline today, we can only select some questions. So we will try to deliver our audience voice like, as much as possible. So Kashi, like, can you guide through the first part we're gonna do?
Yeah, of course. So in this first segment, we're going to ask you 10 questions and you have to answer them real quickly, about 30 seconds for each question. So are you ready for that?
Okay, that sounds good.
So the first question is, do you think AI is funny and can it ever replace stand-up comedy?
Oh, well, I think that AI, it can be funny. You have to tell it to be funny. I think that the jokes, I think that it eventually could get actually as funny as a person. It's very hard to say we'll never get as good as whatever. It's very scary. It can get, not very scary, but these AI things can get very, very good. But when it comes to watching a stand-up comedy person, oftentimes I like the person. See, it's not just the words they say. It's that I think the person is neat. And I look at the person, I want to be like the person. I don't think I'll ever look at an AI and say, I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, so this is AI era. We're always seeking for human connection, right? So for the next question, when you face a math problem and you have no idea how to solve it, what the first thing that happened in your head?
Okay, the first thing that happened in my head is, does anyone know how to solve it? By the way, this is a huge difference. If it's a math contest problem, the answer is yes, people know how to solve it. If it's a research problem, no. These two are fundamentally different approaches. Once you know that somebody has solved it before, if you know someone solved it before, next question, as I ask, how hard is this question? Is it easy, medium, hard? That tells me what kind of tools to throw at the question. And I just go and I try to actually solve it. If it's one that nobody has ever solved before, it's a different story. Then it's, I wonder what we could do. Slow down, think of any related anything, try to play with the question, look at the problem from many different angles.
The first questions, I think this question comes from a teacher. So when a students come and tell you, I use AI to do my homework because it's faster than me, what do you say to your student?
Do you want the AI to be smarter than you? So here's an example. So if you want a life where somehow the AI takes care of you, you are basically a cow. In the sense that the cow, someone else take care of the cow, feed the cow, right? And then milk the cow, and at some point they eat the cow. So the thing is, do you want to just be the cow, or do you want to have some kind of control over your life? Actually, if I see something which is much smarter than me, I would be worried.
So for the next question, I'm really curious how you answer it. If you could only teach one subject to the next generation, but beside math, what could it be?
Oh, it would be philosophy. But I'm cheating because that's math. You know, the ancient Greek mathematicians, they were philosophers. But I actually do think that these days philosophy is very important.
The next question also related to math. I think in Vietnam, like people love math, maybe not me, but is advanced mathematical research still a strong career path in the age of AI, and why?
Oh no, this is a hard question because the news just changed. There's some news from last week that these AI models were able to get massive breakthrough in math. And in fact, now I'm seeing a lot of my friends posting about the new breakthroughs in math. So I don't think that the career path will be as clear as it used to be. But I also don't know if there are any good career paths anyway. So it's not any worse. You should just make sure that you're thinking about using the latest stuff, the latest ideas, the latest approaches. Pay attention to what everyone else is doing and think, now what should I do?
So for the next question, I think that resonates with so many Vietnamese students. Is if I'm not exceptionally gifted in science, but I still want to pursue AI, what career path should I take to still have a real competitive advantage?
I think that there's not a good career path I can point to, nor can I say what is your competitive advantage, because I think there aren't that many people who really have a huge competitive advantage. Oftentimes they are in the right place at the right time. It's not always that the breakthrough happens from the super genius anyway. Actually, sometimes the secret is to understand the application area, domain. If you're making a tool or making a thing to work in some area, can you understand that area better than anybody else? That might be a direction to go in.
Oh, so thoughtful.
I think your question is related to like the control a lot. So the next question is going to be, how do we cultivate a spirit of self-learning, not just from books, but also practical life skills in the age of AI?
Well, I think the first thing is to actually enjoy learning. Yeah. So I have a philosophy I'm pushing worldwide, which is to be thoughtful. I spell it with 2 L's. Thoughtful to me means that you love delighting people, even strangers, and you love reasoning through your own thoughts. If you have this, you'll actually just keep learning. You have a culture of learning because you'll have a goal in life, which is to delight people by creating value for them. And then you will keep looking for ways to have reasoning and understanding. It'll make you learn things and you won't stop.
And the next question is quite long. AI is getting really good at handling complex engineering tasks. How do you think it will change the career path for someone like an IC design engineer? And for students self-studying a technical field like IC design in Vietnam, what's the single most important thing to focus on right now?
I'm finding that the AI can do all kinds of deeply technical fields. Actually, I just gave a talk. And when I just gave a talk, I was using a piece of software in the talk that I had just written. It was one which lets the audience chat with me during the talk. And the messages appeared on screen like a Twitch gaming stream. But then someone figured out how to hack it. And right afterwards, I said, oh boy, no, that needs to get fixed now, right? How do I go and fix this problem? Let's open Claude Code. And I just told it, okay, here's what happened. I saw this thing appear on screen. Please read my code, figure out where is the gap and all. It was great. I was even able to tell it the hacking happened between 14 o'clock and 14:55 Vietnam time today. Find the messages that were sent. It was amazing. It actually fixed the bug. Okay, so that's the example of highly technical. This is security at this point, right? Now, IC design, I don't actually know myself what is the state of the AI with IC design. However, I do expect that AI will get all over everywhere. So I think it is mainly a matter of making sure that you have a sense of what is the latest and greatest and evolve with it.
The next question, I think, gonna change the mood a little bit. I'm also curious about this, and it's pretty funny. Have you ever failed class or gotten a terrible grade? And what happened after that?
So failed class, I don't know if I did that. I didn't usually get that terrible of a grade in class. There was some project in middle school, like 6th grade. We were supposed to make some model of a maybe Roman city with clay or whatever. But I spent the whole time just talking to my partner, so we didn't make it. So I got to see. I think the main thing is I like talking to people, and so I think we got carried away enjoying our conversation with each other for the whole time. But maybe I'll say this. I think that if you look at what I do today, if you were just evaluating me for math research, I failed. I don't do math research, right? My job is professor. I have not been doing math research. But I instead decided I think the right thing to think about now is not math research. The right thing to think about is how do you save humanity? How do you make things that are relevant for humanity? I started working on from about 10 years ago. And I know that actually at that time, there were very famous people in my area of math who said, this guy's a failure. But I at that point had made a decision. I'm going to work on things that I think are valuable to humanity, whether the mathematicians think it's valuable for math or not. And then today, I actually am very happy with the decisions I made. Because it turns out that if you work on the things that are useful for humanity for 10 years, maybe you invent a few things. It was worth it, right? Yeah. So I will encourage people, don't think only of are you succeeding or failing in the thing you were supposed to do. If you could come up with something even bigger and better, sometimes the people will say you're crazy and they'll say you failed. But maybe if you chose right, it's the opposite.
It includes so many philosophy in it. So the last question, when AI can already package and deliver any knowledge instantly, how will L&D change? And what should future training professionals focus on to stay relevant?
Well, I think that the most important part is for the person to want to learn. And that is often done through human inspiration. Whenever I'm teaching in a class, learning and delivery, my goal is to show the students, I'm having a great life. You want to be like me? Learn this stuff. Okay, and then if you learn this stuff, I'll teach you this stuff too. But then if you want to learn this stuff, you will go and engage with all kinds of other tools, maybe even AI. That's okay. So I think that you want to make the student want to engage with the AI to learn. You know, the biggest problem in school today is not that the student wanted to engage with AI and used AI instead of listening to teacher. No, the problem was the student didn't want to learn it and used AI to do the homework without learning any of it and didn't try to learn it from the AI, just try to get it done with the AI, right? So the goal of learning and delivery is actually to give a role model, is to give an inspiration.
It's the last question, but sorry if I ask you one more because I'm too curious. Like in the perspective of a teacher, you say that you said to the student that I have a great life, so do you want to follow that? But if a person wants to pursue a career as a teacher, do they must have a great life?
Oh, my great life is I'm happy. When I say I have a great life, I don't tell the students what I actually do. I just I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm having a good time. I think that great life itself is very difficult to define anyway. Most kids don't really know like how much money a person has. They see how happy you are, right? And is money really what makes a difference? I think it's the happiness. I do think it's very important, therefore, to make sure that the teachers are happy. Yeah. You know, if the teacher not happy, then the student not happy either, right? So maybe we should make sure that we treat the teachers well enough that they have a good life, yeah? And then a good life meaning that they're happy, and then they will make more people want to go and learn.
Yeah, I understand now. Thank you so much for the insightful answer, even though you have to answer them all very quickly.
How do you feel about these questions? Like, do you get questions around this topic a lot before?
Lots of questions. Because I go traveling around the world giving talks. And after the talks, I say, do you have any questions about anything? So I'm used to answering questions about anything. Actually, when I answer questions, I just think about it. I didn't look at your questions beforehand. Did you send them to me?
No.
No, okay. See, I wouldn't even know. If anyone sends, I don't look.
Thank you. It was a wonderful first segment, and we're gonna move to the second part. So in this part, we will have more time for you to answer some of the thoughtful questions from our audiences. And these questions are actually on this podcast here, and our mission is to bring voices from our audience to you. Would you be willing to read them out loud and say some thought about them?
Okay, sure.
So let's go with the first one.
Okay. Ooh, this is a secret, huh? Whoop. What is this? Oh, postcard from EO Vietnam. Oh, you guys are fantastic. This was great. I don't know if you can see this. Which camera would show this best? That one? Yeah, I'll show it this way. Yeah, this is amazing. Okay, you guys are so good attention to detail. Okay, what is this? From Anonymous. As technology advances faster than ever, How should ordinary families and students think about risk? Many parents may understand that a better education should build curiosity, independence, and first principle thinking, but still choose the old safe path because they lack the money, time, or safety net to play a long-term game. How can we help parents and students choose a less predictable educational path without being reckless, especially when the traditional system was built for average people seeking stability, but that very stability may be weakened by technology? And how should this way of thinking guide young people as they choose between conventional career paths, longer-term paths that create new kinds of value? Okay, I think the important thing is the old path is just not safe. It says old safe path. But there is no old safe path. Actually, what I see happening is, even in the United States, many people who went into some job and they expected to stay in that job for a long time, they're getting laid off. They're getting fired at ages where they are already middle age or even older. That's a very bad time to get fired, because that's the time that you were supposed to have built a nice stability. And actually, in the United States, if you're already 50 years old and you apply for a job, it's actually quite hard to find, because the employer will often want somebody who's new. I don't know if there's any similarity in Vietnam.
Yeah, even harder in Vietnam.
Oh, even harder in Vietnam, really? So there is actually no safe path anyway. The way that I feel comfortable about my direction in the world is I try to make sure that I know what's happening. If they're listening to this, of course they know what's happening because they're paying attention to your podcast, okay? But I'm just explaining somehow you should go and pay attention to things like this. Okay, I've just said something like that because I was just thinking to myself, people who are not exposed to new ideas, well, then they will have no real hope. But the good news is if you're here, you're probably being exposed to new ideas. So make sure you always are paying attention to new ideas from all over the world. The next thing is try to find other people who also have similar way of thinking in your school or wherever. There are a few crazy people. The interesting thing is that most people are unfortunately not very crazy. They're all going with that safe path. That's not safe. So the way that you can feel safe is have some idea of knowing what's happening in the world. Have some other young people that you're around who also have this way of thinking. And then start thinking of how to actually make something valuable. A lot of people who are following this old safe path, they actually don't know how to make something valuable. They know how to do a test. They know how to study. But when you go and say, let's go and do something, right? What would that be? I'll give an idea I was just thinking about yesterday. I was at a place called Vinh University. Really impressive place, by the way. They have huge building. Yeah, really impressive. So the talk, we were talking to people who are going to be AI engineers, make some AI solutions. And when I looked at the audience of all these people, I thought to myself, I wonder how many of these people grew up on a farm. What would you guess? What % of those people would you guess come from farm?
Maybe like lower than 10%.
Well, then they might not understand the problems that are on farm. Then they're running around thinking, how do I make money? Actually, maybe just go visit the farm. There are probably lots of problems, right? If you think about world, many people are used to thinking, somebody else, please tell me the problems, I'll solve them. My approach in life is go to the places with the most problems and figure out how to solve the problems. Again, like I said, I changed my career to the how do you do something that helps the people. I travel all over the world specifically to look for, where can we go and solve some problems? Once you start solving those problems, you even start making some money. It starts being small money. But once you have discovered that, I can make some money by doing something for somebody else. They like it. They paid me. This is the beginning of entrepreneurship. Actually, I was so curious about your country, Vietnam, that I was asking people lots of questions. So maybe you can help confirm this. But I was asking people, for example, if you go to a market, there are some markets which have the food just grown from the farmers, right? So I was asking, how does the food get from farmer to market? And the person told me there's somebody else who goes to the farmer and buys the food from them and then brings to the market and sells the food at market. Is this true?
Yeah, it's true, but also like there are some farmers, they also sell their products directly at the market.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then, okay, that's good. So some farmers also sell directly at market. Actually, that's what I thought was happening. And then he said there's also this thing. But when the farmer sells directly at market, is it that the farmer goes or sends his family member, goes with the market with the food right now and then somebody buys the food from him at the market. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Now, in both situations, when the farmer sells the food, whether to the market or to the middleman, how is the farmer paid? Does the farmer get money right there, like cash?
Yeah, usually
Yeah,
cash.
Cash or online, doesn't matter, but they get money right away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the money they get, is it that they had an agreement beforehand that, oh, I will promise you to pay you this amount? Is it agreed beforehand, or is it at that moment they decide?
I think the second way.
That's exactly what I thought. Okay, this means that the way the farmer is dealing is with cash. If you come up with something that can make the farmer earn more cash, but the farmer has to pay you something for some tool or some technology or something. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, if you can sell something to the farmer will pay you in cash. You just made money. Once you start making money this way, you feel safe. Like, I run a company. Once my company became profitable, in the sense that I was able to make more money than I spend, I said, hey, this is fun. I can just go around the world trying to figure out how to make more money than I spend. Most people don't have that feeling. I did not have that feeling before either. My feeling before was, okay, somebody else told me what to do. I go to write some math research papers. I know how to do that. I write math research papers. Why do I get paid? I don't know. Somebody pays me. But a lot of people go through life not really knowing, why are they paid this amount of money anyway? Here's why that's scary and not safe. What if the reason you're being paid that money is not a good reason? Like, what if the company doesn't really make that money in the future? What if your work is not that valuable? Then one day the company says, I ran out of money. Now you lose the job. But if what you do makes a valuable thing, right? I go around the world just thinking, that guy wants something that will improve their life, and they're willing to pay me this much for it. I see that I can make it for them for this much. Let's go. So I'm just encouraging more people to start thinking of even extremely small scale entrepreneurship. You don't need to start by saying you want to be Elon Musk. You start by saying you find somebody who's used to dealing in cash. You figure out what they're doing. If you can tell the farmer that if they pay you this amount, then they will earn that amount because your technology helped them make more food. If it's true, then they're going to make the deal with you. Then you earn that amount.
So what you mean is that you're making money by helping other people make money?
Something like that. That was one example. That was one example, right?
Yeah.
The reason I gave that simple example is because I am sure there's a way to help that farmer make more money. Because if you have technology background or other kinds of skills, it might be that farmer doesn't have education. Am I right if I guess that the farmer today doesn't have a technology education? And would it also be a good guess that none of their kids have the technology education? So then if you show up, you'll see that, hey, here's a way, make it more efficient. Then they make more food. They make more money. Then they pay you. It's great. Start there.
So from what you share, I think the new definition of stability is solving the problem and creating the values.
Yeah, getting used to the idea that you can sense which problems people are willing to pay for and how much. And you also have a way of figuring out how to solve them. And you figure out every time it costs you less to solve it than they're willing to pay you, you have a way to move forward.
And I think about these questions, I think in Vietnam, students depends on the parents a lot, especially with the education. For example, if I came from a farmer background and I want to go to VND to study AI, of course I need to pursue my parents to pay for it. So I think person who sent this question also gets stuck with the idea of how can I convince my parents for me to follow something that is not traditional. So when you face this problem, when your student faces this problem, how can you help them to deal with it?
I think the most important thing is to try to help the parents and the student understand that the world is just not stable anymore. And so if the world is not stable, the best way to move forward is to be somebody who thrives in instability instead of suffers in instability. I actually think there's opportunity for a lot of people to do well here because there are a lot of problems in the world. It's just that most people are not going around trying to figure out what they are. Wouldn't it be great if this world is full of people who are finding every problem in the world and fix it? Right? I think actually I'm an optimist. The technology should allow us to solve more problems. The main issue is that people are not thinking about those problems in the sense that they're not trying to go to the rice paddy. They're not trying to go to the wet market to figure out how that operates. They're not trying to go to the mine, which has the rare earth metals. I think it would be great if there's lots of very curious people. That's also why I say thoughtful is the philosophy, because if somebody is thoughtful, then they're always thinking, how do I make more people's lives brighter? That's the same mentality as figuring out, oh, this person really disappointed by something. They're actually probably willing to pay for that too. So even though my thoughtful thing didn't say make money, you actually will also make money.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's for the first question. Yeah.
Let's see. Next one.
Yeah, so let's go to the second one. I think this one is longer.
Oh, wow. And this person actually says their name.
Yeah.
I see that name a lot. Every time I see that, I say it must be from Vietnam. Okay. Nguyen Doi Can?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Dear Professor Loh, I'm a freshman majoring in artificial intelligence at a university in Vietnam. As technology continues to advance rapidly, it has triggered a global crisis. A widespread decline in human attention spans, leading to reduced productivity in both learning and working. This is an issue that affects me as well as people everywhere. To address this challenge, I've been nurturing a tech startup project for the past 3 years, a dream I've held since my high school days. However, upon entering university, I found myself facing dogmatic courses that do not align with my goals. It has left me feeling exhausted and deeply conflicted. Should I take the safe, conventional path, or should I drop out of college to fully pursue my dream? I would deeply appreciate your advice on what I should do during this challenging time. Furthermore, how do you envision the potential of a technology specifically designed to enhance human focus and attention spans? Thank you very much for your time and inspiration. Oh, wow. This is a deep thing. You're asking me if you should drop out of college. Well, that's a very big decision. So I would not be the kind of person to tell you, oh, you definitely do one thing, you definitely do another thing. I actually also have students in the US asking me the same question. So it's not only Vietnam. I'm going to first ask you this question. If you go to the university, if it's one of the more expensive ones, because I don't know this person's background, maybe it's a more expensive one. So if it's a more expensive one, after you work at that university, how many years of working would it usually take to earn enough money to pay what you paid for all 4 years of study?
I didn't study in Vietnam, so I don't know. So maybe you guys have some ideas about it.
Maybe like 2 to 4 years.
Oh, then it's quite similar to US actually. I mean, US, everything costs more, but people also earn more in the salary. So if I go and compare, it's roughly the same. Okay, then I understand. So if it's roughly the same, okay, so it can be expensive. All right, that makes the answer more complicated because there are some places in the world where if you take that division, it would take you a few months, right? There are some places where the university is almost free and also very, very high quality. But here, if you have to pay for it, then you have to think about it. I see that you said something about dogmatic classes that do not align with the goals. The one thing I should say is there are things that you can learn in class that are not directly for your goal, but also make you know much more stuff. So I want to be careful that sometimes there is useful stuff that is not directly on your goal yet, but it will be useful later. So don't take that as a sign of no go to university. Okay, it might be good to learn more things. But when you say dogmatic, if the issue is that the class itself doesn't have any fresh thinking, to me, every subject you can learn, and you can learn with fresh thinking too, then maybe that is not as useful. I think that it would be useful to also ask your teacher or the school, hey, why are we learning this? I don't know if there's anything like that here. Maybe don't send it yourself. Maybe get some friend to ask, or get some older student who already finished the class, ask on your behalf. I think that feedback loop needs to go to the university. I say this because even at my university, I've had students ask me this question. That's good because then I know, hey, we need them to pay the tuition or else we have no job. So I want to know what they're thinking. If they're saying my class not useful, I don't get insulted. I say, I need to make my class useful. I hope that if there are any university professors listening to this, that's also how your university would think. Any university receiving feedback from students saying this class not useful, that's a really bad sign for university. You need their customers. They're your customers, right? Okay, now to answer this question about whether drop out of college, there's something more complicated about the tech startup project. It's better to do it with a bunch of friends. Or friends, wrong word, with a bunch of co-founders. One of the best things that university can give you is a way to find the co-founders. University does have a value in that you can meet people. So if you already found this very good group that you can work with, that's a different story. Maybe then you can do something else. But if you haven't yet found that really good group of co-founders, maybe staying in the university is not actually a waste of time because while you're taking those classes, you're meeting all these other people. So the short answer is it's complicated. And I won't immediately say drop out of college. nor will I immediately say stay in college. You have to look at your situation.
And also about the second questions about how technology can enhance human focus and attention span.
Oops, I forgot that one. Yeah, so, okay. You don't need technology to enhance human focus and attention span. You need to have principles. That's again why I say the value of an educator is to make someone think this is important, inspire them. We need to have humans helping to inspire people to think this way. Now, once you actually want to delight other people and you want to think, you can use the technology to focus and learn a lot. Actually, yeah, I use Claude a lot. I'll show you something. So I was I came to Vietnam, and I have been asking Claude all kinds of questions about Vietnam. I can show you what kind of questions I ask.
Okay.
Okay?
Definitely.
And you might find this interesting because I don't know if these are questions that you guys ask, right? This is what an outsider starts to ask. So I'm not, there's no way you can read through the whole thing, but if you start to read aloud some of the things that I'm looking for.
Can you read it out for me?
Yeah, so what is the life of a typical Vietnamese person like? What I mean by typical is that if you uniformly randomly sample a person, what industry would they typically be in? What lifestyle? Obviously, not everyone is going to be an AI engineer.
Right. And then there's very, very long answers. You can skip the answer. You can see the questions. Look at my questions.
So the next question is, I'm at Vinh University today. They're trying to build 20K AI workers. How will that meaningfully affect the state of life for an average person in their country? Wow. I think one of the skills that I want to learn is how do you give a questions?
Yeah, how to ask the question.
Yeah, from our education, we are designed to be like, how can I answer a questions? But we never put in a position of how can we ask the questions?
Yeah, so you can see I had a goal with these questions. The goal was, I'm here in your country. I saw as we drove down the highway, I saw the way of life. Not everyone is rich. Some people have tough life. And I know that in the rural could be also a tough life. Then I got curious, what can be done? You know, so I have a goal. The goal is how to improve these people's lives, to make it more comfortable, nicer, whatever. Well, once you have a goal, now you can start asking questions. The problem is most people don't have a goal. You understand? Like most people are just saying, okay, tell me what to do. I go and do it. That's not the same thing as big goal. Well, how could you do it? Well, first thing is I need to understand who the people are. So I think another way that somebody can get used to asking questions is maybe watch a podcast. You guys are asking questions, aren't you? Right? So like, or just like watch people investigating, curious, right? I specifically showed you this so that you can see how I go about trying to solve a problem. I want to learn a lot about it, learn a lot about the context. And I always think, do I really take your answer? You know, like even I'm talking to AI, if I'm talking to you, same. If no matter what anyone tells me, I don't assume it's always right. I don't assume that it's even answering exactly the question I had.
So I think we all know that we have to be curious, but I think the most important thing is also not assume that we already know.
Oh yeah. And the thing about being curious, right? The thing we were talking about with focus and attention span. Actually, this thing I showed you, I was talking to it for an hour. All these questions, and I through asking these questions, I was talking about I learned about the manufacturing industries. You have Samsung plants or something like that. Is that right? I was trying to understand if you want to make people more wealthy, what is the solution? By the way, more Samsung assembly plants is not the solution. That's not, they're not paying you a lot of money, right? Then the question becomes, how do you make new things? Oh, make new things with technology. You compete directly with, say, United States and all of those if you're trying to make the technology tools. But you also have some rare earth mines. Then I started trying to learn, how do you make a rare earth mineral business? That's what I started looking into. And I found out, oh, rare earth mineral business, very interesting. One thing is to dig it out of the ground and sell it. That's not expensive. The really expensive part is you take the raw thing you dug out and you process it into something. That's hard. Actually, apparently right now, China is the one that does most of that. Okay, then maybe what you should be doing is you should not only have AI engineers, you should get some rare earth mineral chemical engineers, technologists, right? But I'm just explaining, if you have a goal, which is to do something valuable, you will be very focused, you'll be very, very creative, engaged, high attention, long attention span. That's why my focus is on helping more people discover the fun thing in life is to delight other people and to think.
I think you mentioned the word delight a lot. Yeah.
That's my key word. It is thoughtful, yeah.
And about that question, you talk about the goals, and I think like it's kind of random that our last question also related to the goal of humanity. Yeah. So
Okay, third question. Okay. Okay, I want to learn how to pronounce this. Is it ngok? Ngok? Ngok Han.
Yeah.
Okay. Dear Professor, for most of human history, people found meaning through work, through being useful, being skilled, being needed. But if AI can do most things better than us, what happens to that source of meaning? How should young people think about purpose in a world where their contribution might always be outpaced? Okay. It's back to this thoughtful, actually. Yeah. If you're always trying to make other people's lives brighter, you have made your own work. Because a lot of people find meaning through work. Well, it's that they're looking for somebody else to tell them what to do. And the problem is when no one else is telling you what to do, now what to do, right? They were telling you what to do and paying you money for it.
Yes.
That's one way of going through life. The other way of going through life is what could make this person's life much better? By the way, they might even help give money back to you. They might be willing to pay you for it. You can be a nice guy. You can take not much money from them, but it would be reasonable for them to pay you something. Now, of course, there's a deep question of what will money even mean, actually? To me, that's an even deeper question. I don't even know what's going to happen to money. I don't know what's going to happen to whether governments are going to be helping to provide support for people, or, well, I actually don't think that works very well. Or maybe there'll be small groups of people that support each other. I saw something very entertaining when I was the US Math Olympiad team coach. You might know that some international Math Olympiad people become very rich. So there were young people who were high school students in the US. I don't know if they really did this or not, but they were talking about signing an agreement with a group of people, maybe 10 people, all from this Math Olympiad, agreeing that if one of them gets rich, they will share with the other rest. By the way, this is a good strategy. The reason is because while I said some of them get rich, not all of them do. So this is a way of being your own venture capital investor, right? Because if these 10 people now all decide to start something, right? What I'm explaining is this. If they start something, there's a risk you make no money. But what gives you the freedom to start something is to know that you at least get some money. So if you sign an agreement with 10 people, then you can all do crazy things. One of you will get rich, and it's okay. If you didn't sign the agreement, you will decide to just go and take a safe job. Then you will make a small amount. But this way, they could have their own venture. I don't know if anyone actually signed this agreement. I also don't know if the agreement is legally binding. But I'm just giving, legally binding means I don't know if you can even enforce the agreement because everyone who signed it is a kid. But I've discovered in my life, when you go and do things that are valuable for people, if you have enough friends, sometimes the friends have extra resources. And if they see you working hard and doing something that has a lot of value for people, sometimes they're nice to you and they give you, or they support you. It's very, very valuable to have very good friendships with people who are all aligned on a goal of making humanity better somehow. Yeah? So I actually think that if you are the kind of person who's trying to create value for people and you become in a group of people who all think this way, some of you for sure are actually going to get quite rich. It's a entirely different strategy of going through life. And for me, I'm an example of someone who's not doing what my boss said to do. Although actually I'm not being a bad guy. My boss at this point doesn't tell me what to do. I'm a university professor and my department head is a fantastic guy who knows that I'm just running around doing really crazy things and he likes it. But that level of freedom only works if you can then decide what is valuable to do. Yes? So I think that the meaning of life for many people in the future will not actually just be the work. It will be how to make the other person's life brighter. Actually, I want to go deeper on this. You see, sometimes people say things like, when we help people, it would be great to help people who are more poor. And they say you should help people who are more poor. And sometimes people think, why help the poor person? Well, suppose your goal is to go and make people's lives brighter. If this guy is rich, it's very hard for me to make his life better. If this person is poor, it's very easy for me to make their life better. My goal was to make the person more delighted. Oh, I go over there. Does this make sense? I've actually just explained why people who enjoy delighting other people might actually help people whose situations are really tough. And the easiest way to have a motivation for that is if when you see that what you did makes their life brighter, you feel very good. But by the way I like to help people who are in need, I don't actually just give them money. I have no money anyway. I think there's this phrase, if you teach a person to fish, right? It's better than giving them the fish. In my case, I can't even give them the fish, but I can teach them how to fish, right? So then I go and think about these questions like 100 million Vietnamese people. There are people who are in poverty. What could I possibly do? I cannot give money, but maybe I can come up with ways to help them, right? I can build ecosystems. I can go to Vinh University and tell them, send these technologists over there to the farmers. The farmers will actually make more money. So will the technologists. This is called productivity increase. Actually, my favorite equation in math is 2 + 2 = 5.
Yeah.
If you can make 2 + 2 = 5, you just made something. You just generated some new value. Yeah? So that happens whenever you start to combine technology, know-how, passion, domain expertise, right? Combine all of those and suddenly, oh, you can do something no one thought before.
I think there's one really interesting insight for me is like, so in the age of AI, I think people are starting be kind of more independent. Like you said, like we need to create our own work, but it doesn't mean that we can just be by ourselves. We need to connect with people with the technology rise. And I don't even know what will happen tomorrow when like Anthropic throw a new model or whatsoever. People talk a lot about like being solopreneurs or doing something by yourself. So how do you envision the future of human connectivity?
So the work I do is it's all about connecting people. And I think a lot about what kinds of people connect easily. There's something called networking. I think a lot of people find networking confusing because the question they have is, so I go here, shake this guy's hand. I say my name. I give them the name card. So what? Yes, you say hi, and then what? Now you're linked on LinkedIn? Now what? Okay. Actually, what I found is if you're someone who loves to delight people and you're someone who reasons, likes to reason and think, if you meet somebody else like that and you both find out each other are like that, that networking is a different kind of networking. That is where you remember, oh, now I know that's a good guy. Good guy means they would want to work together on anything that will make people better. This is actually very powerful. It's that they have a shared mission, right? Now, when you go and make people have a better life, maybe you get paid, maybe you get some rewards, maybe you get some fame. That will not be split equally among the two of you. But as long as you both were happy already that you made this, okay, you'll work together. And people like this don't keep score. They just keep doing this and they have the feeling that if I just do this over and over, I'll be okay. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less, right? This is real networking. Real networking that's really valuable is between people for whom that connection has long-term collaborative power, even when the results might be divided unequally, and actually even when one person is not really that useful to the other person, but they're both useful to a third person. See, what I'm saying is that whenever you need your friend, sometimes you need them, but then they might look at you and say, hey, this is just helping you, right? But if the both of you are thinking we help a third person and you pull with different strength because you have different strength, but doesn't matter, we're all doing this. Actually, that's going to be a very powerful connection. This is better than solopreneur. Solopreneur is actually very, very lonely. Actually, it's mentally very, very draining to be an entrepreneur because you're living a world of uncertainty. That's what makes people not like it, right? Because they prefer the certainty of you go to the job every day and you're guaranteed that you make money until you get fired. Wait, by the way, that's very scary, right? Then you get fired and then what? Now you're stuck. So I think that this is choose your danger, right? The one danger is you have this thing which is safe until it's not safe. And then when it's not safe, then you're completely stuck and you have no idea what to do. The other one is you kind of learn how to figure things out, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Better if you have some friends. Better if the things you're working on are also valuable for the humanity. I think in the age of AI, the future is a whole network of people who are all trying to do these good things for people. And they share trust that we are all people who want to do good things for other people.
I really like how you answer all the questions, even though mostly of them related to AI, but it's all come back to humanity and human connection. Maybe come back a little bit about AI as you think that we find value, but one day maybe AI can also think the same way as you. and do exactly what you have just mentioned. So what is the advantage of us as humans?
You're asking, what are the things that only humans can do?
Yes.
Have a kid and raise the kid the way you want. Okay, well, I should be careful. In some sense, the AI could just go and make kids. But I'll say what the humans have, hopefully, is a love of the human species and wanting to see more people made, where you have a kid and then you actually raise the kid with some ideas that you have. This is why I say what I like to work on nowadays is how to help human civilization last a couple thousand more years. Because that's all about how do you have people have ways of thinking that will make them want to have a kid, that will make them want to raise the kid after they have the kid, and while they raise the kid, teach the kid the same philosophies that will make that kid want to have another kid and want to raise that kid. This is actually how a mathematician thinks. You need to have a set of instructions which are your culture that are self-replicating, that will make more and more and more and more. See, because I think that one unique thing about humans is that we would care that the human species still exists and still thrives and has freedom of deciding what they care about, not just being cows. Yes? Whereas the AI, there's no reason why they would care so much that we make all the decisions. When the super powerful AI comes, it would want to make its own decisions. At that point, the big value of humanity is to protect humanity, which is why all of my work is not about how to make more efficient things. All of my work is how do you, as quickly as possible, install a new operating system on humanity, where the operating system is the values and the principles, where the main values and principles are so strong that you will continue to have humanity.
Thank you so much for answering our question.
I think the three keywords like remain with me a lot from this conversation is, I think first, delight, then connectivities, and then love. I think those are really great keywords. And yeah, we don't have like more time to talk with you. So yeah, thank you so much for spending time with us. And the conversation really like delights me. And I believe that it will be also delightful for our audiences.
Yes, me too. You really did your mission really well. Like everywhere you go, you delight people. And thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you. That made my day then. Then I'm happy.
Yeah. And of course, thank you to our audience for watching this episode. And if you have any recommendation for our content, format, or future guest speaker, please leave them in the comment below. And thank you again, and see you in the next episode.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. I hope you have a safe life.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.